reading from 1 Peter. Beloved, sanctify Christ as Lord in your hearts. Always be ready to give an explanation to anyone who asks you for a reason for your hope. But do it with gentleness and reverence, keeping your conscience clear, so that when you are maligned, those who defame your good conduct in Christ may themselves be put to shame. For it is better to suffer for doing good, if that be the will of God, than for doing evil. For Christ also suffered for sins once, the righteous for the sake of the unrighteous, that he might lead you to God. Put to death in the flesh, he was brought to life in the Spirit. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Alrighty. Christ is risen. Truly he is risen. Alleluia. Father Francis with you on this sixth Sunday in Easter, in Pascha. Yeah. So today I just kind of want to take just a moment and kind of reflect upon some of the things that I have personally been kind of dealing with. And it's not so much a focused homily where, I've kind of prepared some ideas and thoughts. I just thought again, it might be a little bit more of a rambling kind of a homily. I don't mean to do that. I apologize. But I do want to just kind of talk about some of the things that I've been kind of just dealing with in my own personal life. And from time to time, I get steeped into, history, especially history of World War II. And all throughout my life, I've always been interested in the history of World War II. And for some reason, in my YouTube queue, have been a lot of new documentaries about the Holocaust and the horrors of the Holocaust, the level of human suffering and evil that people have endured throughout the ages. And not only that, but even in addition to the horrors of the Holocaust, I've also been watching videos, documentaries about also the atrocities committed by the Bolsheviks, the Soviets, upon innocent people right after World War II. Or actually after the Bolshevik Revolution, but certainly went up and through World War II up until the 1950s, the gulags. So, and I've just been kind of stunned at first, and shocked and horrified, and then numbed by the level of human evil that can be perpetrated on other innocent beings. And you might want to ask yourself, well, what does this have to do with the reading? What does this have to do with, the mystery of Easter, of Pascha that we are in right now? And I was talking to one of our parishioners just the other morning. We were just talking about the problem is that in our society today, we have seen that evil, I believe. Now, I could be wrong. And if you would like to challenge me on this, you're perfectly welcome to do so. But, you stop and you think, well, how in the world could such evil come to fruition? How could we have let it get to that point where we selectively, literally select a group of people for extermination and genocide? For to commit these atrocities. It's like, okay, these people we're going to inflict suffering and pain and evil upon them. We're intentionally doing this. Okay? And I think my question is, how does it get to that point? And I think that we saw just a couple of years ago, actually just a year ago, months ago, how it kind of starts. And it starts, I think a lot of it starts with fear. A lot of it starts with fear. The fear of, I'm not going to have what I need to whether live or maybe live in the comfortable life I expect to have. You know, I understand that. And so, you know, especially if you have a family, you want to make sure that you're providing for your family and that they have all that they need to be living healthy and vibrant lives. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, if you feel for some reason that your livelihood is being threatened, especially maybe by others, then, and you see others as the threat, you know, as the problem that needs to be dealt with in like a final solution scenario, I can see how, yes, I can see how unfortunately good people, well-meaning people would give into that fear and respond in, say, a less than a human or Christian way. And I think we saw that with the recent pandemic. People were on the nightly news and on the internet, we're always talking about it was the pandemic of the unvaccinated. And if you happen to be one of those unlucky people, then people were talking about putting those types of people in concentration or re-education camps. And I was just watching another video today, and I guess it needs to be said. It's grim to say this, but there were even maybe a few voices that were calling for the extermination of the vaccinated. So, you know, that's how it starts. That's how it starts. People are fearful. People are angry. People are now, they're desperate. They're panicking. You know, when you panic, sometimes you do things that you look back and you say, why did I do that? How could I have done that? Fortunately, there was a pause. I don't know where the pause really came, but somehow the good Lord gave society a chance to say, okay, you know, you really need to take a pause here and not overthink this. You're letting fear drive you to, unfortunately, some of the same conclusions that generations in the past, the recent past, you know, if we're talking about the 70-year past, made in being fearful of another group of people and how they dealt with those people. So fortunately, it didn't get to that, but it very easily could have degenerated into something very horrific and ugly and evil. Today, the reason why I read that reading from 1 Peter was because it says, you know, give an account of the hope that you have. See, Easter is all about life, real life. You know, Easter is not just something that we mark on a calendar, or as Catholic sacramental Christians, we actually celebrate Easter and Christmas as a season, not just one day, right? But it's more than that. Last week, we started the month of May, and in the last few years, there's been a little playful thing on May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. You know, those who are into the Star Wars universe know that that's a kind of a play on May the Force be with you. May the 4th be with you. I can actually say that now without tongue-tying myself. May the 4th be with you. I couldn't quite say it as quickly and as clearly without saying tongue-tying. It's kind of a tongue-tire. But anyway, and I remember when I first saw those Star Wars movies, I think especially the first one, I was a young Christian at the time, and so a lot of the themes in that first movie, in fact, I think it's called A New Hope. I guess that's what the first Star Wars movie was called, The New Hope. And that's what Easter is all about. It's the new hope, you know. Instead of may the Force be with you, it's, you know, we say may the Lord be with you. In fact, I actually thought that the Star Wars movies were very Christian. Well, I don't know if they were intentionally Christian, but they certainly had Christian themes, especially, again, the Force be with you, the Lord be with you, you know. And then, of course, the whole idea of evil triumphing over, good and triumphing over evil. The one dramatic scene in the first Star Wars movie where Obi-Wan, you know, he's fighting the Darth Vader character, and he's kind of this old, humble. He looks like a Franciscan monk, you know, kind of a little bit of a monkish thing, and he realizes that he has to probably not only set up a diversion to keep Darth Vader's attention on him so the other people can do what they need to do and flee, but the only way he's going to be able to be successful at really vanquishing the evil is to surrender and to lay down his life again. You know, it's pretty blatant, you know, very, very blatant Christian symbolism. So I've always thought that, yes, you know, our Christian message is one of hope, real hope. You know, Easter and Pascha, you know, it's all about allowing that life force, that true life force, that resurrection life force to permeate us, and for us to embrace that as fully as we can on this side of the resurrection experience. Okay, so we still have yet to go through the other side of the resurrection experience, but right now, even now, we get a foretaste of what real life is all about. And so we live in a society right now that is really in turmoil, and whether or not it goes up in a sheet of flames, we just don't know. You know, every day, you know, there's something that could be like the little tinderbox that sets it all off. You know, you look at history and you realize that, you know, World War I was set off by just a simple assassination, and that just set the whole world aflame. So what would it take, you know, something that we wouldn't probably even recognize as that being a catalyst to start something truly horrific, but they're out there. There are all these triggers out there that could probably start World War III or cause maybe some kind of great civil unrest in our country. And so the message that I want to kind of close with is simply this one, is that you know, we have a lot of people right now that are just very, very angry and upset, and they're mad at life, I think. This whole transgender phenomenon, I think, is kind of rooted on the fact that some people have been told that they're not good enough for who they are. They somehow have to change because who they are right now isn't acceptable. You know, they're not attractive enough. They feel that if they could just somehow change themselves, maybe then people would accept them for who they are. And the irony is that then they're changing into something that they're not. So they're not going to be accepted for who they really are. And see, we're supposed to be persuasive, and we're supposed to give people hope. And even though they may not be in a position or a place to hear that, you try to convince them, you try to reason with them the best that you can and lay it out there. You know, what I want to say to a lot of people today that are clamoring for, they want to find their true self, is, well, guess what? You don't have to radically change your physical. You don't have to go through radical cosmetic surgeries. You don't have to do that. You don't have to change your pronouns. You don't have to change anything about you, because God has created you as you are. Now, again, not all of us are movie star, attractive. A lot of people, kind of think, well, I'm not, attractive, physically, And to be honest, probably a lot of those movie stars aren't really physically attractive either. They just have good makeup, and maybe some of them have had cosmetic surgeries to maybe fix some of the defects. But every human being has defects, okay? And the thing is that you have to learn to just accept yourself for who you truly are. God has made you for a reason. And if you're going around trying to radically change your physical appearance because you feel that deep down inside somehow you're just not good enough, I think that's very superficial. It really is. And instead of accepting yourself for who you are as a real person, and not buying into the fallacy and the lies, even the lies of the secular world, that you're not attractive enough the way you are, you have to change yourself. Well, then you've bought into a lie, and every time we buy into a lie, we run the risk of being lost, and at the end we're still alone. We're still alone. One of the people that I've discovered in the last month as a doctor is Dr. Anthony Cave, and he was talking yesterday about people that are lonely. Then they go in for surgery, and it's just sad, because sometimes people they're just so alone, and I think that's probably really the foundation of a lot of our human existence. If we don't feel connected, if we feel alone, then what's the purpose of life? And a lot of times, if we're always looking at ourselves and saying, well, it's not enough, I'm not good enough, I don't have enough, whatever it is, it's not enough. And that's all we do is we focus on ourselves kind of in a narcissistic way, then yeah, it's never going to be enough. But if we kind of adopt, the good old prayer of St. Francis, and look outside of ourselves, that's where we're going to find meaning, that's where we're going to find fulfillment, and that's where we're going to find, others, And so today, I'm standing here in kind of a spring snowstorm. And again, if you don't like it, just wait a few minutes and it'll change, And in many ways, I think that's maybe a good metaphor for life, is that, life changes on its own, and you don't have to radically change yourself. Allow God to change you, yes. That's another theme for another homily, is it not? But the thing is that, I think there's a gentleness and a naturalness to the spiritual life, and we don't have to be clamoring for, radical change when God does accept us for who we are. He created us as we are, and we were told that whatever God has created, He created it as a good thing. You're a good creation of God. So I know I'm rambling a little bit here, but again, I just wanted to kind of give voice to some of the things that I've been kind of struggling with and dealing with. The mystery of evil, the mystery of redemption, the mystery of resurrected life, the mystery of Easter and Pascha, because it is all around us, So in closing, I hope you got something out of that, and do I dare say it? Yes, I do. May the Lord be with you. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. God bless. Have a great week.